Welcome to the Own It Sister podcast with the amazing life coach, Sarah Oxendine.
What's up, everybody? How are you? This is Sarah Oxendine with the Own It Sister podcast. This is unpredictability. That is today's topic, and we're talking about this because there's a lot of we live in an unpredictable life. This human experience is unpredictable, and the human brain really likes things to be predictable. And in fact, we live our life as if they are predictable, and because it just helps us feel more at ease. But especially right now with this COVID-19 happening and the stay at home in place and this influx of cases coming out, you could be feeling an overwhelm of what the flip is happening, right? And so I think it's important to talk about unpredictability because it is part of the human experience, and it is very certain that things are going to be unpredictable. And so how can we be prepared for things that are unpredictable? Well, what we can do is first of all, it's been a very long time since any type of pandemic ever happened, right? And now we're living in it. And there's all this misinformation that's like, what is happening? But there's other things, right, that we can be prepared for. Things like maybe in some point you might lose your job, or your spouse might lose their job. Like at some point in your lifetime, that might happen. How are you prepared for that? What are the necessary steps you need to take to have that preparation? 3 months rent in the bank, right? But in the time that you can possibly be changing your life habits so that you could prepare for that, what happens? We just don't live in a way that we think that's ever going to happen. And so then what do? We don't do that. And then the thing happens and we're like, wait, what? We're just caught, and we're just like, we're not prepared. So one of the huge things that I have learned from this pandemic, this awesome COVID-19 that has, taken over everybody's lives, whether we like it or not, whether it's true or false, it is still impacting all of us as a whole. One of the things it has put a lot on my heart has been like, okay, sister, it's time to be prepared. Like, you've known about preparation for a long time. You've done some, not enough. Now we're seeing it. Where can we tighten ship? And so, of course, there's preparedness in ways of having a year's supply of food, right? Having 3 months of normal food that you eat. And then there's the thoughts, but where do I store all that stuff? But here's the deal. Like, if you don't go through the thought process of what you might need, then you're not going to be able to create an environment or the necessary needs so that you can have that. You might need to make some changes in your living situation, right? Like, we got a cow, and it's going to be here, I don't know, in a couple days now. And so we got 2 freezers so that we can put that cow in, right? We didn't have those 2 freezers prior, and we have bought half a cow before, not a full cow, but half a cow was like half a year, and a full cow is a whole year. So now we got a year's supply of beef. We're going to get a pig, but those are things that we can do to prepare. Those are physical things. Now let's talk about mental ways we can prepare. Things like, we had, my daughter had a childhood friend from, when she was in elementary school, and we just found out that he passed away a few days ago. And it was very sad. A 19-year-old boy drowned, and my heart goes out to their family. And very tragic, very sad. And that same week, actually just before that, maybe the week before that, our daughter's best friend, well, they have 2 best friends, and they're stepsisters, and my 2 daughters are best friends with them, and they're awesome. But one of their little sisters, 6-month-old baby, suffocated with a blanket and died in her crib. And this is literally within 7 days. We got both of this information. And I'm just like, it just brought death a little bit closer. I mean, we all know that we're going to die someday, but then when you know people and children And for me, I was like, man, like I have been more concerned about my 4-year-old not dying than my now 19-year-old daughter. Do you know what I'm saying? And of course, I'm always, being aware and concerned and, trying to keep things as safe as possible. But like, we just don't know. And so with something like that, like, where's the mental space? Where are you mentally? And some of you are going to be like, no, I can't even go there. I'll just lose my crap. And I'm not saying to go there to a place and just like really live through what it would feel like to lose a child. I'm not suggesting that. What I am suggesting is noticing where you are. And if you're at a place where you're like, I could not live, I will just die, but you have other children, like maybe you want to, and whatever you want to do, that's up to you and that's important. But if you want to be able to continue living for those that you love in your life, then you're going to need to figure out what are the things you need to do so that you can clear that up and clean that space up in your head so you could be that. And it doesn't mean that you don't mourn and go through all of that. Of course, you would do all of that. But like for me, I was thinking, man, I've got 5 kids. I don't want to lose any of them. But if that happens to be a cross that I need to bear in my life, I don't want my other children to now have not only lost a sibling, but now lose a parent because I can't handle my stuff. And that is why we're having this podcast today. Because where are you mentally and physically? Like, see where you are physically, right? Like, there's certain things like I can't run like I used to because I'm 50 pounds overweight. Not acceptable. Not acceptable. So I'm working on that because I want to be the type of parent who can run and play with her kids and not, puke after running 2 feet. And so I am making those necessary changes in my life to create a healthier version of myself so that I can be there better for my family and being prepared for them. Now, understanding the headspace. What do I need to do for myself as a mother to help prepare my children so that they can make sure that they're living their life in a way that if it's their time to meet their maker, they are going to feel prepared for that. That's my job, to make sure that I provide that for them, right? And myself, if today's my last day, am I ready to meet my maker tomorrow? What do I need to? Do I need to apologize to? Like, how do I need to live and align my life so that I'm prepared for that? What about if my children and then they're motherless? Have I helped and prepared them so that, as tragic as that would be, that they can be in a mental state as best as possible, of course, that I have given them as much as I can so that they could navigate that the best that they can? Am I there? Have I done those things? What if something happens to one of my children and, my spouse or one of my other children were in charge? What if they were babysitting? What if they were the ones who were supposed to be watching and then that tragic accident happens and we lose a child? Like, am I in a headspace now where I can forgive? It doesn't mean that I wouldn't be angry. It doesn't mean I wouldn't go through a mourning period, but it doesn't make things any better. I mean, for Pete's sake, if that happens on my watch, that's enough for me without anyone adding anything else. That's the same with anyone else. If my child was babysitting, if my husband was on duty, and if they were human, which we all are, and an accident happened, am I in a headspace where I can forgive for that? And I'm not saying that like, oh, you're just going to get there and you're just going to know. No, but what I am suggesting is that if you're not aware of where you are right now, then you'll be really jacked when it comes up. Hopefully none of these things even happen. Hopefully not. That is best case scenario. But are you prepared if something does? Because we just don't know. We just don't know. If something happens and you were to lose your job, or the breadwinner of the home, if maybe you're both the breadwinner, maybe you are, maybe he is, maybe you both are. If something happens and you don't have any income, do you guys have a plan? Do you have a financial reserve to cover for at least 3 months? Like, I remember when this whole thing first started happening, right? I was raised in, I don't know if you can hear my kids. I hope not. Hey, children, I'm filming. Children, I'm filming. I hope they heard me. I remember when this first started coming out, right? And it was like all of a sudden everyone's wearing masks. I'm talking about COVID-19. And like I was raised in a way where like I've been taught my whole life you should have a year's supply of food. You should have 3 months of the daily food that you eat all the time. And then, it's like, the basics for the rest of the year, which I'd really love to have everything we eat every day for the whole year. That'd be awesome. But that takes time to prepare for that. All right, that was a glitch. Sorry about that again. Okay, so basically, I wasn't prepared. And what I've noticed since it's been a few months into this, it's like the urgency has gone down in my brain because it's not brand new. And so I haven't been adding to my food supply as rapidly as I was, the first 2 months into this. Now, we're here. What are we in July? And I'm like, whoa, sister, I gotta get back on that. And so just noticing, right, like we get comfortable and then we sink back into this comfortable place and then we don't take the necessary action. Why? Because we learned in our last podcast, we don't want to. Like our brain is like, excuse me, I don't need to take any action. Like, I don't know what you're talking about, but I don't need to take action. Our brain just does that. So where is it in your life that you need to prepare? You need to plan for possible unpredictable times. All right. We hadn't had a first aid kit for the car. I just got one the other day, putting it in, right? You don't know. I don't know if someone's going to chop their finger off in the door. I'm going to need to, I usually have oils on me all the time, so that's fine. But, just like tourniquet, things like that. Like, what are the things you need to do to be prepared for hopefully something that never happens? Another thing was with this whole, I remember we lost, if you have children, and I have 5, at some point you lose a child. If you're a mother and I think even if you have one kid, you probably lose them once, but I can't speak for that. I don't know. I haven't had one child. I only had one child for like a year and a half, and then I had 2. And so ever since then, I have had multiple children, and now I have 5 children. And it was actually when I had 4 children, I have one particular daughter who just likes to wander. She just, what it is? She just gets in her own world and she's quiet. And she just looks down and walks straight forever. Like, it doesn't matter that we're in the group. Like, if we turn, that girl just kept going straight. And she doesn't do it anymore, right? Now she's 11 or 10, something like that. Almost 11. But when she was, walking by herself, basically 3 to 5, maybe 6. Like, we had to be very careful. And in that time, we lost her for sure twice in major. Like, we lost her at Disney World. What? That was really scary. And then, we found her. And the worst we lost her was at the beach. And the reason that was the worst is it was the longest. And you're at the beach. Like you're just scanning the water thinking that she's drowned. Like, it was terrifying. And my husband had dropped us off and I thought he was going to come, or I knew she was with me, but I had like 2 dogs and I had 4 kids and we're like crossing the street and I'm like, come on, trying to keep everybody together. And then in Santa Cruz on this really steep staircase, we had to all walk down and I thought she was up front with the big kids and they obviously thought she was with me and she was with all of us until it came to going down the stairs to the beach. And we get to the bottom of the stairs and I'm like, oh my gosh, where's Anave? Like, what the heck? Where is she? Oh, I don't know. And I'm like, and I thought she got down. And then my husband comes down and she's still not there. She probably was lost for a good 15, 20 minutes. Let me just tell you, if you're a parent and you lose your kid at all, like the second you notice that they're gone, you're in pure panic mode. Like, pure panic mode. We called the police. It was very scary. Like, we called the police and then I was like, I'm scanning the water. I'm like, well, maybe she didn't come down with us. Maybe somehow she's still, maybe she's walking straight because she has done this walking straight thing before. And so, we're asking people who are coming back this way, hey, have you seen a little girl? And I think my husband drove down to find her, whatever. We eventually find her. Amber let the police know, oh, we found her, blah, blah. It was terrifying. But let me just tell you, in that moment, my husband and I knew that if she had drowned in the water or been taken, it would have ruined both of, like, we would have not made it. Like, our relationship would not have lasted that. I don't know if he could have not forgiven me. I don't know if whatever. If I could forgive myself. Like, what? Even though it was pure accident, still not okay, right? And in that moment, we knew we needed to do some work on our relationship. We knew that I don't know what's going on with my kids or why they have to be outside of my wall yelling and screaming. I apologize. I'm hoping the speaker is blocking them out, but it's possible that it isn't. But anyways, they're having fun, so that's good. We knew we had to like super up level our relationship, our connection with each other, our ability to forgive and allow room for error. And it was a very, very gnarly situation for us in our relationship. It was a blessing because it hadn't happened, but we didn't even realize like how absolutely mentally and emotionally we were unprepared in case something were to ever to happen. And that was a good 6 years ago. And so we've been working on it for all these years. And I can say we're definitely in a better headspace now. But even still, like, you got to go to the place and you got to work through, like, what are the things I need to work on so that I can be mentally prepared. And you just got to do that. You got to do those things. Like, if you're someone who does not forgive people, you need to ask yourself, why am I not forgiving people? And probably you don't forgive yourself very well. So you got to work on forgiving yourself first. Understand you're human. It is not possible to be a human on planet Earth and not make mistakes. It's not possible. It is not possible. So you got to allow yourself for room for error, and you have to allow other people room for error. And then you have to trust that people are doing their best. Right? So just working on that. Where are you emotionally? How can you? And then understanding, you guys, like, we cannot predict what's going to happen, but we definitely know that, at some point in your life, someone's going to probably lose a job. At some point in your life, you may have some financial struggles. You may have, if you're married, you're going to have struggles in your marriage. It's a part of being married. If you're newly married, let me just tell you, I love being married. I love marriage and I love being married. I love it. It is the hardest thing besides parenting, like the hardest thing. And for some of you, you've got easy marriages. Okay, but even still, there's still times that are hard. And I love my marriage and I love all the things, but it's work and it is hard and it requires a lot of effort. And it is easy in living the routine of life to just lose touch with each other. So you have to make that effort to stay connected. But you have to prepare for that. You have to prepare, okay, like, what if my spouse dies? Like, what are the necessary things that need to happen? Like, do we have a will in line? Do we have the funds? Because here's the deal. If somebody passes away, and this is something that just blows my brain. It's so sad. Like, here, it's tragic enough that you lose someone that you love. But then all of a sudden, like, the cheapest way to have a funeral, it's like $7,000 for the cheapest thing, right? That's being cremated and that's like it. Like, it's insane. But then what, you want to have flowers and you want to do a thing for them. Like it all costs money. And if you're not prepared for that, you're jacked. You're jacked. So what do you need to do to prepare? Of course, hoping for the best, but preparing so that if something does happen, it can take some of the edge off. Imagine if you have your whole funeral set and ready. You have all the money to cover it. Everyone knows exactly, and maybe they don't know they know. Maybe you have it all written out. That's awesome. That's awesome. What if your spouse cheats? And I don't expect that you're going to know exactly what you're going to do, But for me, there was a time I was like, he cheats, done. Absolutely not. I do not do cheaters ever under any circumstances, out the door. Now, as I'm older and been married for so much longer, it's like, I guess it totally depends. What if his mom had died and he's going through something? Or what if I have been going through something and so I have been not a part of our marriage? Like, it's not okay for cheating, for sure. Not acceptable. But at least now I'm in a headspace where I'm willing to be like, investigate more into it before I just am like, that's it. Like, I used to be very like unacceptable, blah, blah, blah. But I'm learning that there's human error. What would it require of me to forgive in that situation? Would I want to forgive? Who would I need to be if I was forgiving? Right? So it's just about asking yourself the necessary questions so that you are prepared for the unpredictable that may come up. Do you know how to change a tire? What if your significant other, spouse, or husband can't? And you got a flat tire. I don't know how to change one. I learned once when I was like 12 or 13. Don't remember. I should do it. I should know how. The more we're prepared for, the more skills we have under our belt, the less fear you will have in your life because you are prepared, even for worst case scenario. Do you know how to defend yourself? What are you going to do if someone breaks in? Do you know how to shoot a gun if you need to? Like, of course you hope never to have to shoot someone, but if you ever need to, don't you want to know how? Or headlock someone. Front chokehold's my favorite. I don't know how, but for some reason in my brain, whenever there's any type of, fighting happening, like I see the front chokehold and I'll just get it. Like I'm very good at that. So, do you know how? Do you know how to move your body in a way that you can manipulate someone else's body, get them in a chokehold if you need to? Are you teaching your children how to defend themselves? Of course, we hope you don't have to, but what? What are you going to do? What if you need to? This life is unpredictable. You need to prepare yourself just in case. And it's okay that it's unpredictable. You don't have to live in fear, but you live in way less fear when you're prepared for the unpredictable. There's something specific. Oh, and here's the other thing with unpredictable I kind of want to bring up. It's really actually interesting. As I was like researching unpredictability, do you want to know what came up the most? What came up the most was women. Women love it was like men learning how to be unpredictable to seem more appealing to women. Isn't that interesting? I thought it was hilarious. I'm like, what? Yes, how women love unpredictability. The unpredictable. And, even with like screenwriting, like they try to create when they're screenwriting, the screenwriter they want to create some predictability so that we can feel like we're a part of it by seeing the clues and participating in the movie. But when you like to create a twist, we like that unpredictable part also. Okay. So as much as our brains don't like predictability, in some ways we really do. And then you know what? I watched this video about a woman who had lost her leg, and she shared 10 things that she wished she had known before she had lost her leg. And some of them really apply to actually my topic and for today. And so I'm just going to throw some in for you. If your doctor's not a good fit, don't be afraid to just cut them and get a new one, right? You don't know, you can't predict what's going to happen in your life. So for someone like me, I am serious. I am a naturopath. Hey, I'm filming. Oh my gosh, this kid's, I'm a naturopath. I love natural healing. And so I need to work with a doctor who's open to that. And if I have one that isn't, it's not going to work for me. Right? So whatever your personal needs are, it's important to make sure to be prepared for whatever may come your way. You need to have a doctor that you feel aligned with. Okay. Another thing that she brought up was learning how to fall. You don't know, especially, right? I'm going to be 40 next year. Like, I'm sure I'm not going to really have like falling things, for at least, another maybe 30 years or something. But even still, like, if you're in a situation, you know how to fall properly, you can really prevent a lot of injuries. What? It's unpredictable. We don't know when we're going to fall or need to. And if you know that skill, which my kids all know from jiu-jitsu, but I should practice that. So I thought that was kind of a cool one. And then also, and I think this is really good for everybody, right? Don't prepare your recovery to someone else's. How often do we, in our own life, we look at everyone else and we're like, okay, so I'm in a similar situation. So it looked like, they got over this in about this amount of time. And then, this recovery was this amount of time. But then if we don't specifically meet those needs, we're like, oh my gosh, something must be wrong with me. There must be something else. Oh, and we like freak ourselves out. So here's the deal. It's okay to have like, goals and timelines for things, but it is not okay to think that you have to do it exactly like someone else did. Here's the deal. You are unique. Your recovery is unique. Your health is unique for you. So it's important that yes, it's okay to know of timelines of things, but understand that your body is different. Your body's unique and it's going to do things on its own timeline. Don't compare. Nothing good comes from comparing. And then another thing she mentioned, which I thought was cool, like, is your home suited for you? And I want to bring this up because like often we don't think about it. Like if you're going to buy a house, like if this is your forever house, you need to like, what are your needs in forever? Like you're going to get old. Do you really want lots of stairs? Do you want narrow walkways, right? Like what are the things you may need in your life? You're going to have parents living with you. Do you want to make sure that you have 2 master bedrooms, right? Like, do you have room for storage and to store food in case we need it? Do you have like just noticing, do you have the yard space? What if you need to grow a garden? What if you want to have chickens? Is there a possibility for that? Is this really the right house for you? And creating your living space for your actual needs. And I love that she brought this up because she's like, listen, it's really important. Like it makes such a difference in your quality of life if your house is situated in a way that works best for you. And so when you're buying something, lots of times, especially if you're younger and this is going to be your forever house, there's a lot of things you don't think about. If you're going to have children, what are the spaces? How are you going to want it to be? Right? Like being aware and thinking in that way. And there we go. That was just a couple of the things that I thought would be cool. Or that would be good to add. Just you guys, like living in a world of unpredictability, it's just super important that we, another thing I want to say, like, do you know your neighbors? What if you need something and you're not able to get to the store? Can you go to your neighbor and ask? If you have maybe you've been squabbling with your neighbor and you need to fix that. Relationships are very important when we live in an unpredictable world. Like, how is your community of humans? Are you surrounded by a community of people that are dependable, you can rely on, that love you, that you love, that are loyal? Like, and creating the types of friends that you're going to need in a crisis type of situation. Like, those are things to think about. Like, we just don't know. Things are unpredictable. So we got to prepare now because, here comes a crisis. Wish I knew a doctor. You've had all these years. Maybe you do know a doctor. You don't even know they are a doctor because you didn't take the time to get to know them. Right? So you got to build your relationships now. Oh, dang. I wish I could go talk to my neighbor and, see if they have a wheat grinder because I got all this wheat and she's a lady. So maybe she's an older lady who used to can. So maybe she does have one in her garage, but I just burnt that bridge because of blah, blah, blah. Now you got to mend those relationships. You never know when you might need someone and they may need you. And what type of person you want to be. I know I want to be a type of person they can come and ask me for help, but if I don't clean that up and fix that relationship, they're not going to come to me for help when they need it. Even though because even though I want them to be able to, but they won't, because I haven't healed that. I haven't mended that bridge. Okay. Relationships are really important. I wanted to share with you this experience from, what was her name? Margaret Heffernan. And she shared in a TED Talk that she talked to a number of chief executives who owns businesses, and they had gone through their own like severe hardship in their business, right? Where they like almost lost their business. And she wanted to know, like, what was it that helped you turn it around or hang in there when it was so heavy, so hard? And what all of them said, the same thing. They said it was their colleagues and it was their friends. That they were able to rely on. They gave them the strength and the courage to hold on when it would have been easier to quit. And then she went and talked to a bunch of younger executives. They're the same, right? Chief executives, younger ones. And she's like, hey, like, who are you friends with at work? You want to know what all of them said? They looked at her in confusion, like, what? What friends? I don't have time for friends. Like, that's not efficient. I'm just getting my work done. You know what she thought? How sad is this? What are they going to do when it gets so hard, when life gets so hard, their business has struggles? Let me tell you, if you're a business owner, something like this is most likely going to happen. You're going to have some craziness happen in your business because craziness is a part of the human experience. You're going to have it in your marriage. You're going to have it with your children. You're going to have it in all the different areas of your life. You're going to have it in your business. And if you don't have what you need to help pull you through, you're jacked. And that was what she said. She's like, what are these young people going to do they're so worried about being efficient with everything that they're not doing the harder thing of building relationships and creating this space for them where when things get super hard, they are able to gain that inner strength, not only from themselves, but from those around them who are cheering them on, encouraging them never to give up, and helping them on their journey. So, my friend, this life is unpredictable. Right now, specifically, so much unpredictable. And that's okay. Because as much as we don't know what is going to happen, we can prepare the best possible. Take the necessary steps, the necessary action to get your mind and your physical needs together so that you can be and are prepared for whatever unpredictability may come your way. Have an amazing day, my friend. Oh, here's the essential oil. Let me tell you really quick. As the essential oil for... I'm going to say, just a sec. Oh my gosh. I was going to share, which essential oil was I going to share? Connected. Okay. Connected emotionally, because if you are not connecting with people, it's going to be hard to be prepared. So connected emotionally, marjoram, vetiver, cedarwood, geranium, birch, lime, ylang-ylang, whisper, and holiday joy. I love ylang-ylang for sure. Connected spiritually, frankincense, melissa, Roman chamomile, sandalwood, spikenard, rose, peace, manuka, yarrow palm, and arise. Here you go, my friends. Have an amazing day. If you're ready to work one-on-one, give me a call and let's work through this. Have an amazing day. I would love to work with you. Own it, sister.